Glory to the Empire and to this video's sponsor, Skillshare.
There are many ways to start constructing a plot for a story. There are also a lot of ways to structure a plot, from Freytag's pyramid to the 3-act structure. Some of those structures, such as the hero's template, whoops, I meant to say hero's journey, will likely be the subject of their own video one day. But first, I would like to cover some of the common ways to improve the story's plot. I mean, other than keeping our focus solely on Mary Sue, which, a writer should already be doing by default. So ready your inciting incident as we cross the threshold into how to plot a story. One of the first things a new author should consider is what kind of writer they are. Are you a writer who designs their plot carefully, designing the story with careful planning and precision, like a skilled architect? Or are you a writer who creates stories by the seat of their pants, sowing ideas and character moments and letting them grow organically without a rigid outline? Finding out whether you are a planner, aka architect writer, or if you are a pantster, aka gardener, aka discovery writer, can be very useful in terms of knowing how to approach a plot. Normally, finding out where a writer falls on this scale can be useful, but the best kind of writer is the third type, the ego tripper, aka the writer who never needs to revise their plot no matter how mangled the first draft is. Architects need not worry about their rigid outline strangling the characters. Why must the heroes seek the legendary lore stones? Because it says right here in the outline. Is there a character motive to seek the lore stones? No time to think about that. Got to have the robotic drone-like characters move on to the next set piece in our checklist. Characterization must yield to the almighty outline, for its power is absolute. That's kind of strange. I wonder why the story feels stale. Adhering religiously to the outline might have caused a case of slideshow syndrome. Good, I was worried I might have a real problem for a second. Slideshow syndrome is what I call a story that has a rigid plot that consists of a series of events that are only loosely connected together, if at all, and that lacks smooth transitions between scenes. Here we are crossing the threshold. Here we are at the symbolic death and rebirth. Oh, here's where we found a great elixir. See? Like a slideshow. Also like a slideshow, they require little to no effort to make, and I'm all about that. Now, another potential problem with an outline is that a writer might have to take the effort to actually plan something. Sometimes there isn't time to lay out the plot in an organized fashion when in the throes of creativity. Writers on this end of the scale simply discover the story as they write. Being a discovery writer can be thrilling as they explore the story without knowing what lies ahead, kind of like driving off a cliff. This can produce excellent characterization, even if the discovery writers have a bad habit where they keep writing and writing and writing. This is getting kind of bogged down and I can't seem to find the climax. Should I take a moment to regroup to get a better sense of direction? Where does the story end? I don't know. Ask the characters. They're the ones driving the plot and they refuse to stop and ask for directions no matter how lost the plot gets. See? It's not my fault my characters have taken on a life of their own. That'll be a great comeback to a 1-star review. The voices in my head told me to write that. Oh no, wait, the heroes are not allowed to drive the plot. Only the villains are allowed to do that. The protagonist should never take initiative. They should be stuck endlessly reacting for the entire story, even if they end up looking like chumps and the reader starts to share their frustration. Endlessly hitting the reader with new elements out of left field is a great way to advance the plot and will be as fun for the audience as stumbling through a dark room full of Lego blocks barefoot. Whether the writer is blazing away discovery style or carefully planning their story, both methods shouldn't worry about silly things like structure or their scenes not really having a point. I mean, why is this scene here? Does it add to the world building? Is there character development or characterization? Do the events portrayed in the scene advance the plot in any way at all? If this scene were cut from the story, would the story be any worse? A writer shouldn't worry about any of these. The scene need only to be cool in order to merit inclusion within the story. Can't murder that precious darling. But how does an author even construct a scene? Why, that's easy. Just have a bunch of characters stand around talking to one another and nothing else. No actions to punctuate the dialogue, no characters actually doing anything other than blab on, probably dispensing expository dialogue. No sense of progression, no central conflict to even drive the dialogue. Nope, just a bunch of characters standing around and talking about the plot rather than moving it along. At least until a writer suddenly springs an action scene upon them with the transition as smooth as sandpaper in a gravel pit. Then have the action scene followed up by another scene where all the characters stand around and talk about what just happened, even though the reader literally just read it a few moments ago. Because obviously we need a space-filling recap to explain everything. All of this meandering could lead to another story condition I call saggy middle syndrome. This is when the plot in the middle of the story stalls out. There are a lot of tools for kicking the plot back into gear, springing new information on the characters that change the context of their core conflict, add a new obstacle or complication, create a new interesting minor character, shorten the middle to bring the climax closer, dig into a major character's backstory. Or we could add a subplot that goes nowhere. Adding a subplot to the story that is a natural outgrowth from the main plot and merges seamlessly into the story's final climax can work, but by this point I'm getting sick of looking at the main plot. I think I'll become enamored with my subplot and have it take over the story, kind of like kudzu. Keep building up this subplot at the expense of the main one until our primary plot is but a shadowy memory. Then get bored and abandon the subplot and leave that thread just dangling with no satisfying conclusion. Fans of the main plot won't be angry, and neither will fans of the subplot because they will be too busy fighting each other to focus on the author. Oh, hey, with our subplot awkwardly discarded, it's time to start thinking about the finale. But before that, we need to reveal our stunning plot twist. Did I foreshadow this plot twist? Ha! No, that would ruin the surprise. Why would a writer want to build up their narrative with subtle clues and foreshadowing that reward the reader for paying attention to the story's fine details when we can instead smack the audience in the face with it from nowhere? The best plot twist is the plot twist introduced for the sake of having a plot twist. Does the plot twist recontextualize a central conflict? Does the twist pull together all the loose plot threads and neatly tie them together? Does it offer new insight into one or more major characters and give them a new perspective? No, but it makes me feel really clever, and that should be enough. With the twist revealed, all the cards are on the table now. It's time for the story's climax. Did I introduce the villain? I guess I should get around to that now. Better shove the Dark Lord in there the last minute and awkwardly spill his backstory to everyone. Am I forgetting anything else? Alright, I forgot to establish the stakes. The fate of the world hangs in the balance. Huh. Probably should have upped those stakes as the plot progressed along instead of saving that for the last minute, but oh well. No one will notice. They will be too distracted by the cool final confrontation. I hope this doesn't feel too rushed. Gotta save just enough room for a sequel hook. And there you have it. Just fill any remaining plot holes with weak excuses and it's done. Trust me, no one will notice that the plot is so awful that they can't even look away because it resembles a train wreck that collided with a bus full of screaming clowns. And the clowns are on fire.
Glory to the Empire! Congratulations, Imperial Conscript. I mean mandatory volunteer. You have been chosen to take part in the Empire's magnificent military machine. Together with our glorious Emperor, long live his aim, please don't execute me for not showing sufficient reverence, none shall stand in our path as we march to victory! To help every recruit ease into service with the Imperial Space Forces, this video will cover all the standard issue military gear of our invincible empire. All Imperial conscripts, I mean mandatory volunteers, is issued with an Imperial Magnetic Energy Malicious Eradicator Rifle Type 4, the lateral endo-enthermic Teldum helmet with face-concealing shield for maximum intimidation and dehumanization. A picture of our wondrous Emperor who is so awesome that he is really cool and always wins when he plays Fortnite and, doesn't look a day past 27. Please don't kill me for offering insufficient praise. And of course, every Imperial soldier from Trooper to High Commando should check out this video's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is one of the largest databases of Imperial knowledge this side of the galaxy with over 20,000 classes in writing, design, business, and technology. Every officer should sign up for premium membership that gives unlimited access to high-quality classes. Why, this propaganda officer found the official DIY guide to voice acting by Donald Fiskell Jr. to be extremely useful. Yes, this propaganda officer is, very valuable. Yes, very valuable. He should most definitely not be killed in order to reach Imperial execution quotas. The Emperor commands that you check out skl.sh/TWA5, or that you check out the link in the description below to get 2 months of unlimited access for free. Join today! You might just be an expendable drone, but you owe it to yourself to be the best expendable drones the Empire has to offer. With the power of Skillshare, we march to victory! Or at least better employment.
Thanks again to everyone who subscribed, commented, and/or left ratings. Those are always appreciated. I hope you enjoyed the video and that I'll see you again soon.